Vlogday 1004. No wonder I'm tired. I need to go climb up a mast or something. This is awful.
Good morning. It is, I don't know what day it is, Wednesday. Today is my 4th day of 20 and 20. It's going to be kind of a weird one, a little bit of a somber day, because if you didn't catch it in the news yesterday, the roof of Notre Dame burned, the attic burned, threatened the whole church. I have no idea what happened after we left. It looked like they had the fire contained to the upper level, and the hope is, I was feeling fairly optimistic when I left that the stone structure was fine. I was hearing a lot of reports about the art being evacuated, the relics getting out, and everybody was fine. Nobody was hurt. I haven't looked at the news this morning. I'm just going to go straight down and see it for myself, see what's going on, because Notre Dame is a part of the 4th Arrondissement, which is where I was going to be today anyways. Timing feels eerie, and yeah, I'm kind of sad. I'm still kind of sad. I'm sadder than I thought I was. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm definitely sadder than I thought I was, but wait. Oh, that entrance to the metro is closed. We'll go over here. I think I'll get out at Hôtel de Ville, which is right across the river from Notre Dame, and that's where we'll start this morning, and we'll see where we go from there. Taking the long way around. Didn't want to see it from the front. Those of you that watch the channel regularly, I don't know how many of you are just popping in to see this part, know that I'm not a current events channel. I'm a vlog. I don't know more than you know at this point. You probably know more than I do, actually. But this church does mean a lot to me personally. Looks like they blocked off the bridge. I don't think we're gonna be able to get very close to it today. I'm gonna swing around. I'll try to get over the next bridge over and see if I can't get a shot from the front here. But yeah, I'm still gonna get into the 4th today. I'm definitely planning on showing you everything there is to see in the 4th for those of you in the future who think of this as long lost history. I definitely feel better seeing the church still standing. I don't think we're gonna get very close. They've got barricades set up on every bridge here. The island as a whole might be shut off. People are getting on, but I think the people that work or live on the island. Well, to start then, this is the border of the 4th. This bridge is open, so I'm gonna pop over onto the island. This is the very border of the 4th with the 1st. The conciergerie is in the 1st. Notre Dame's in the 4th. It's the center of the city on Île de la Cité, which is where Paris was founded a long time ago. And the church itself, I mean, it means a lot to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And for me, a lot of it comes down to, it was always like an awe-inspiring, beautiful place, but also something that was warm and familiar. That when I first moved here, I would just pop into whenever I could, just to see it, just to walk through it. I don't know, I felt a touch of history, you feel a touch of awe, you feel a touch of personal inspiration, I don't know. But I always really enjoyed just walking through it. I would just go if I had 15 minutes and stroll through it just because I could, because I was here, because I really liked it. I liked staring at all the details and kind of sussing out different things one of my favorite activities actually was always to sit directly in front of it and see if I could pick out all the details. There are a lot of asynchronous elements to the front of the church. So it was always fun to sit and see if I could spot all the differences, all the unique little quirks about the construction of the church. And I don't know, it just feels kind of like, yeah, losing a friend or seeing a friend maimed, thankfully, not completely losing it. But see, this is the first time I've seen it from the front, so we'll see what this looks like. Okay, first bit of good news though, the rose windows look like they might be okay. They're not busted out, at least like the windows above them. So that's nice. That's the second best news. The best news is that the church is still standing. It hasn't collapsed itself. It was just the roof. And it's not the original roof anyways. And they saved a bunch of the statues from the renovations, so hopefully that's good. But the fact that the rose window is still there, thankfully ran into some friends last night, found people to spend time with, which was really good. And somebody said that they saw the rose window come out, which would have been horrifying. I mean, those rose windows, they took all that stained glass out piece by piece to save it in World War II in case the church got bombed. So to think that some schmuck, like leaving his cigarette unattended or whatever happened, I have no idea what caused this, but you know, would be the thing that took the rose windows out, would have been just horrifying. All right, I'll give you one last look here. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the church, this should all be covered by a roof. You should not be able to see the inside of that little triangle there, and this should not be flat. You can see, I'll show you from the other side, the scaffolding still is in the shape of the roof. Well, this definitely takes my complaints of scheduling issues this week to a completely different level. I feel better seeing it standing and seeing the rose windows still in place. Like, oh my gosh, it makes me feel so much better. So much better. I was gonna be so sad if the rose windows were gone. They're so beautiful. I don't know what this means. I don't know how long it'll be before we're allowed to go back inside. I don't even know if they're still spraying water on it, so I don't even know if they're confident that they've finally put the fire out for good. And I'm sorry to anybody that never made it in. And that's just crazy. Look at all these big news peoples. And it's starting to rain, so that's great. We are now on Île Saint-Louis. Île Saint-Louis is the smallest neighborhood, they say, in all of the city. It doesn't have a bus or a metro. You have to get onto it the good old-fashioned ways, preferably by horse or wheel, as dictated by history. This entire island is all fourth all the time and has a fantastic view of Notre Dame from behind, which looks a little mangled now, but thankfully it's still standing. This is actually where I ended up last night during the live stream. I stopped right at the top of that ramp back there, and I mean, we came back and watched again from across the way once I connected with the Bike About people, but just for some context, if you're watching the live stream, I was on Île Saint-Louis to end, and I started over at Hôtel de Ville. So there's a little bit of that. I'm gonna get off the bumpy road and away from the crowds here for a minute. One thing I'll show you on Île Saint-Louis, feels so weird to be doing this today, is Bertillon. Bertillon is the most famous ice cream in the city, and there are some giant tubes in my way. Much bigger problem for the guys on scooters that are trying to turn right now. Bertillon is the most famous ice cream in the city. Some would say it's the best ice cream in the city, but they definitely have the classiest main store in the city. And of course, there's a fire truck parked right in front of it. So Bertillon, don't look for the fire truck. Hopefully it's not still here by the time you get here if you're gonna come visit. It's really tasty. If there is a fire truck parked in front of it, don't worry. Their ice cream is sold everywhere on the island. Anywhere you see that fancy B or the word Bertillon, you'll be able to find it. You don't have to go to the main store, but the main store is super worth it. All right, let's bounce off the island. Sadly, the Peloton's not open yet, but I need coffee, and a waffle would be really nice right now too. The jackhammering's not helping. I'm not sure what all I lost on the audio side because I didn't have my microphone on, but this is St. Paul. St. Paul is a church that was built by Louis XIII for the Jesuits, so it's a very different church than any of the other churches in town. Fantastic, beautiful inside. Laura had never been inside. I found Laura, by the way. Missed that part because the audio was dead, but anywho, it's a wonderful church. It's often open on Nuit Blanche. It's very lovely, quiet inside, and again, really different with some lofty, rounded arches. Just make it kind of special. And if you go straight down the street away from it, you get a fantastic photo of it as well. But speaking of getting great photos, there's one more spot that I wanted to hit while we were down here before we go and get waffles and coffee because let's just get out of here before the jackhammer kills us all. Across we go. Place des Vosges is the oldest planned square in Europe. Royal housing back in the day. It's the most expensive real estate in all of Paris currently, with I'm sure a couple of exceptions along the way, because there's always exceptions to every rule. But this place is amazing. It's not only beautiful, like the houses are all uniform, you have these delightful colonnades, which we'll take advantage of for just a second now that I'm talking about it. Just look at this. But it also has this delightful park in the middle. I highly recommend grabbing some gelato around the corner, right where we entered. Heading into the park, sunbathing, not today. With the rain, it's obviously not a good day for it. But the park is a great spot to sit, and it's one of the few places in Paris where you're actually allowed to hang out on the grass most of the time. You have to wait. Oh, we're past it, the 15th of April. Look at that.
Oh, hey.
You can get on.
Is that today, the 16th?
No, what's today?
The 16th.
Oh, yay, so today's the first day. People were already doing it though, but technically you're allowed to get on the grass now, which is great. I don't know how much I'm allowed to ride my wheel in here, but. Basin de l'Arsenal, or the basin of the Arsenal, is the beginning of Canal Saint-Martin. So it's loaded with boats that are parked here, a lot of which are headed on their way up the canal, some of which might be here more permanently, but a lot of these people are actually traveling through Paris on their boat, which is kind of a cool way to travel. Makes me wish I had a boat. But it was built by Napoleon to separate the rich from the poor. It was built as a dividing line between classes, but also brought fresh water to the city and commerce. And if you were to jump on one of these boats and use the canal, you'd be able to go all the way into Germany. I don't actually know where it ends, but theoretically you'd be able to get to Germany, then switch to the Danube and make your way down to the Mediterranean. That's what I've been told. I've never done it myself, but someday, maybe I'll get to. You'll also see a structure that you might recognize. It's a really tall tower that marks where the Bastille prison used to be, which was a castle to begin with, and then was turned into a political prison, and then was torn down during the Revolution, and now is a terrible roundabout that's been under construction for forever. Don't drive through there right now. It's the worst. All right, I believe we've officially earned a waffle. It's time to go back to the Peloton and get some waffles and coffee.
Such a big fan.
Good to get a little bit of a waffle and coffee in me. We're gonna head over to what I think is the most underrated building in the city, Hotel de Ville, maybe Tour Saint-Jacques, and then lunch in the Marais. The Marais, one of the things that I haven't said about the Marais yet, which I said about the Haute Marais yesterday, is that it is famous for its shopping as well. If you want to do some shopping, you like the little boutiques, want to get some clothes, even some knickknacks or collectibles, it's a wonderful place for it. Not my favorite arrondissement for food, but I'm going to show you the #1 recommendation that I have for the neighborhood, and one of my biggest recommendations for food in Paris. It's where we're going to go for lunch. But first, Hotel de Ville and Tour Saint-Jacques. Getting some panoramic Bouchon footage. Hotel de Ville is the mayor's office of all of Paris. There is a mayor's office in every arrondissement. We actually just passed the mayor's office of the 4th arrondissement. It's not necessarily that interesting, but this thing is as old as Notre Dame. It's been built on over the years, so not all of it is. But Hotel de Ville, the mayor's office, has been here for a very, very long time. It's a phenomenal building. I think it's one of the most underrated buildings in the city. Just doesn't get enough love. Gorgeous. And it's right next to Notre Dame, which looks so weird without a roof. This looks so strange. Tour Saint-Jacques is the church that was a church that's no longer a church. It is just a tower. Suffered the fate that thankfully Notre Dame avoided yesterday. It was torn down during the revolution and they just left this one tower up, which is now in the middle of a park, and you can only go up in the summer in small groups. I've never done it. I really want to do it this year because I'm sure the view is amazing. Really, I would really like to climb up that tower, so this is the year. One last thing that's famous in the fourth that deserves a mention before we go to lunch is Pompidou. The Centre Georges Pompidou is the famous National Arts Museum. And right next to it, of course, is the Stravinsky Fountain. I used to really dislike this museum. It stands out in a bad way in Paris. It's not that it's necessarily that horrifying on its own. In context, being in Paris, it's kind of a rough spot to have it. It is admittedly pretty hideous, but at the same time, it has one of the nicest views in the city. If you go up to the top, it's a fantastic view among the rooftops of the 4th Arrondissement. So there is some great shopping around here. Lots of Space Invaders. You know, lots to wander around and see. Now that we've been here and seen it, time for lunch. Just down here, our final stop today is on the famous Rue des Rosiers. It's a great little walking district with crepes, falafel, and a number of different recommendations that I have in my guide, including the most popular, most famous falafel spot in all of Paris, L'As de Falafel, which is very good. I think Chez Hannah is actually even better. Just depends on what you prefer. If you don't like aubergine, if you don't like eggplant, then L'As de Falafel is probably for you.
Cut it in half, maybe.
Oh, you want to take it first? I'm stuck.
Yeah. Nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Can we cover this?
Battery's about to die, so I'll leave you with the beef bourguignon. Pouchon got the ratatouille. What did you get, Laura? That's all you got? Did you get a sandwich?
Breakfast already today.
Oh, you're good. You've had 2 breakfasts? Yeah, you're set. How's the ratatouille?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Like it? I already know I'm gonna love the bourguignon so out. I hope you've enjoyed this quick tour through the 4th and the Marais, and I hope that you have a wonderful day wherever it is you are, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for another round of the 20 and 20, which I didn't explain at all today. But that's okay, just go watch yesterday's. You'll get a good explanation. I'll see you tomorrow.